I wish I knew what to expect from my ayahuasca ceremony before I started on this journey. There are countless videos on YouTube that talk about ayahuasca, but nobody really talks on what will happen. So in this video you will find 7 things on what to expect from an ayahuasca ceremony. So one thing to consider is what happens on the outside and the job of the shaman. So the shaman is harmonizing the space and also maintaining a level of rhythm, the energy of the ceremony. There are different parts to the ceremony. There's moments of silence, and then there's also moments of different instruments like the harmonica, the drums, the guitar, and also some chants that the shamans use. Then there are other things that you can expect, like shamanic elements, like this is called the vaida, then different smokes, the copal, the soplo, the ortiga, energetic cleanings that are a little bit hard to explain in this video. Then there are certain physical effects to be expected at the ceremony, and ayahuasca is a purging medicine, so it's vomiting and or diarrhea. But it's not just physical, it's also an energetic, spiritual cleanse that is happening through it. I created a video specifically about the vomiting on ayahuasca. Check it out as well. Another thing that I don't want to say you can expect from a ceremony, but is somewhat common is a level of disturbance. Sometimes people are like, whoa, mumbling to themselves. Sometimes they are moving around uncontrollably, shaking a lot, maybe even a lot of vomiting. And this is also where the shaman comes back in again to help with that level of groundedness. You'd actually be surprised that a lot more ayahuasca ceremonies are pretty innocent from the outside looking in. And then there's the ones which are a bit more chaotic, a bit more wild, and how wild it can be, we will go into that a little bit later in the video. But to be honest, what's a lot more interesting and what's happening on the outside is what's happening on the inside. In a way, the ayahuasca is a conversation that you're having with yourself through the plant. You are in an extraordinary state of consciousness, and in that extraordinary state of consciousness, you're starting to become aware of things that were there in the first place, but things that you have suppressed. It can be your feelings, it can be certain judgmental thoughts that keep on repeating itself over and over again. Also, through the ayahuasca, we get to know ourselves better, and we all have different aspects to ourselves. There are the parts of us where we feel guilty, where we might even feel a bit ashamed. There's the angry part of ourselves. There's the prideful part. But there's also the forgiving part of ourselves, the grateful part of ourselves, the optimistic, the faithful, the loving part, the peaceful. And what of those range of experiences you will get. Maybe you even experience all of those in one night, but it's in the end up to the ayahuasca, and to be able to trust the process and being open to that conversation, that exploring of your own inner depth, of your own inner universe. And the more you get to know yourself better through the ayahuasca, it also allows you to get to know better others as well. It helps you to connect better with your own humanity, with others' humanity as well. There's another thing which I feel like is not talked enough accurately about, and it's the group dynamics and the ceremony consciousness. There is in some ways some fear around, like, ooh, who will I do the ayahuasca with? How will their energy affect my energy? And it really depends. I always like to say the example, if there's one person crying, that's their experience, and how you relate to that experience is your experience. Some people might be pissed off about it, other people might be feeling sad for the person, other person might be feeling happy for that person, another person might not even notice that there's somebody crying over there. And it can be that you also encounter somebody in your ceremony who really triggers you, but in a way it's also really interesting to look at what is it about that person that you know for such a little time that has such a strong level of emotional impact on you. And it's usually because that person represents a certain type of personality that you haven't made peace with. And also through the ayahuasca, it allows you to make those connections, experience that level of healing, and explore that part of yourself. I actually think it's very important, the group experience in the ceremony. As humans, we are social creatures, and I think it's a lot more powerful to also go through those healing experiences together. It allows us to develop compassion, understanding, connection, instead of just trying to hide in my little corner and trying to isolate myself in that healing process. Another thing to expect are the ayahuasca visions. However, the visions are not how you might imagine them. Many people associate the ayahuasca visions with what you see with your eyes open or closed, that maybe Mother Ayahuasca is going to present herself, that you're going to get the vision, the solution, the path for your life. And it can be that way, but I think people put too much of an importance to it. The ayahuasca visions are just as much, if not even more, the feelings that you have during the ayahuasca, the comprehensions that are coming to your heart, the understanding, development, even the thoughts that you're having. Those are just as much the visions of ayahuasca, and not just what you think, what you will see with your eyes. Ayahuasca is actually a lot more than just a ceremony. There's many people coming to drink ayahuasca and they're looking for that epiphany, that cathartic moment to change their life. But it starts with the preparation, with the level of awareness that comes to you in the preparation process. Then, of course, the ceremony, and even more after the retreat as well. It's a spirit that comes to you and develops in your consciousness in the days, weeks, months after. And whatever will trigger you, whatever you feel an intuitive call to, all of those are still messages of the ayahuasca. Those are all things to expect as well, and things to develop in your own consciousness, in your own process. And then there's some common questions. The first one is, how long is the ceremony? It's about 6 to 8 hours, also depending on how many cups of ayahuasca you drink. Also with the ayahuasca, usually the effects are the strongest 30 minutes to 2.5 hours into the journey, but obviously also depending on the type of ayahuasca that you work with. And also another saying is that with ayahuasca, it is going to be what it's going to be. For some people, they're on the journey the whole 6 to 8 hours. Others, it comes more in waves, which is actually more common. Another common question that people have is, will I be able to move? Will I have an understanding of my surroundings? And the answer is, in 98% of the cases, yes, you will be understanding that you are in a ceremony. You will be able to see. Maybe it's a little bit distorted, a little bit augmented in a way, but you will be able to move and to have your motor functions. Another aspect that a lot of people have a lot of respect for, in a way, are even afraid, and is to lose control, or will I shit myself? And again, in the high majority of cases, it's not going to happen. However, it can be that on that conversation that you are having with yourself, that you encounter certain aspects of yourself that really shake you to your core, that there might have been like a level of anxiety or depression or trauma stored up, that it's just like the ayahuasca decides that it needs to go out in that way. Which is obviously, if we think about it, that's not the way we want it to go out, but it's also something to be grateful for. These indigenous medicines at times can be crazy, but also they're very effective as well. It can be that you are shook to that level through something negative, but even through something positive as well, that you experience something so magnificent that your physical body is not able to withhold it or hold it either. So it's a topic in of itself. I created a video about it, losing control on ayahuasca. Really recommend you watch it. Another question is, how many cups will I drink? Usually when a ceremony, there's going to be opportunities for a second cup, sometimes even a third cup, depending on who you are drinking with. Will you need the second or third cup? Well, you won't know beforehand. You need to drink the ayahuasca, feel it out for you, and then when the call comes for the second cup, feel it out. If you can close your eyes and keep on working with the ayahuasca, many times you don't need the second cup. If you feel like the ayahuasca has slowed down and you want to go deeper, it's good to take that extra step. So I could talk about this topic for ages, and I do on this YouTube channel. Check out the video 11 tips for your ayahuasca ceremony, or 14 different tips on how to navigate a difficult ceremony. But at this point, you already know a lot more than I do about ayahuasca and what to expect at a ceremony. With that, comment your questions on what you would like to know about a ceremony. But in the end, nothing can really prepare you for your own personal experience. The best is to go in with as little expectations as possible and allow the ayahuasca to work in you. I'll see you in the next video.